Hey guys, today I kind of wanted to go back and revisit our ICF to quality framed wall comparison. I've always said we should do this about once a quarter. I get a little lazy sometimes when I don't feel like things are changing because it's, as long as the price is relevant on my last video, I kind of assume it's okay to go. So, we started doing this last year in March, almost exactly a year ago. And at that time, I could get ICF cheap enough and lumber was so high it had spiked that they were very close to being on par. If you guys remember, I'll put up a picture of the setup I did. In the original video, I actually had a 4x8 wall framed with zip board, 2x6s, figured spray foam insulation. And then I had a 4x8 wall of Fox blocks set up, and we ran the numbers of both, and they were within $5 of each other for like a 4x8 section. Obviously, there's tons of variables we don't want to get into in a 10 to 12 minute video, but that was the case in March. I think we did it again in like July, and lumber had actually kept going up and was higher than the ICF. But during that time, I was kind of getting a little hesitant to promise pricing on Fox blocks that I didn't know if everyone could get. Nudura and Build Block had both already seen 15 and 20% increases. Fox blocks had held off on their increases. We were locked all the way through the end of the year at something like $3.87 a foot, which was kind of unheard of in the market. So after that video, I was a little hesitant. I didn't do another one until January, which is just like 3 months ago. And at that point, lumber had come way, way down. And it was just to kind of give you a reminder of the way we were doing these comparisons. We would take 2x6 framing, because we want the wood framing to be as structurally robust as it can be. It would never approach, the structural integrity of an ICF house. But, I'm not trying to compare, the crappiest, 2x4s OSB or even the foam board walls and stuff that can't support the wind loads at all. I wanted to, really compare good framing to, ICF. So we do 2x6s and we do one sheet of zip board, basically 1/5 of a roll of zip tape, because generally you'll get 5 to 6 rolls of coverage, counting all your windows and everything else, out of a roll of zip tape. So you'll get, 5 to 6 sheets of coverage. So we divide up the roll into, fifths. And then the insulation, and that's been, fluctuating a lot in the last 6 months. It didn't really make a big factor early in the year last year when I was doing these videos. So anyway, in January, the 2x6s were $12.32. They have now gone up to $13.98, which is basically $14 a piece. You need 5 of them. You're at $70-ish for that one item. The zip board, which a year ago was $55 a sheet, and that completely puckered me because I was used to paying $17 to $18 a sheet for this even 18 months ago, and 24 months ago now. It hit 55, and I was just in a panic. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea what we were going to do. And by July, it was up to 70-something, 71, 73. It was something crazy. And then it had come way back down. So in January, this was only $37 only, right? It's still pretty bad, but $37.55 a sheet, which, like I said, historically overpriced, but compared to what we had seen, it was a really, really good value. Problem is, for whatever reason, the sheet goods always fluctuate so much more than dimensional lumber. And I'll just show you what I saw today at Home Depot. $73.60 a square foot, which I'm pretty sure is the second highest I've ever seen it, but it is the highest I've ever done a video on it. It's just insane. There's no shortage of any of the products to make it. I don't know what's going on. And the tape was $27 in January, and it is now basically $29.40, as I'll show you there. So factoring in 5 studs, 1 sheet of OSB, and 1/5 of a roll of tape, and I didn't even get an updated price on the spray foam. I know it hasn't gone down. $2.85 a square foot. That is almost doubled from where it was a year ago, and that's the big kicker right now to get anywhere close to the R value of, you're not going to get the wind protection, but the R value of the ICF, you're going to have to go spray foam. $2.85 a square foot brings the total for that 4x8 sheet of wall to $241.20. Put that in perspective, that's about $50 higher than it was this time last year. A little bit because of the lumber, but mostly because of the insulation. Just to kind of put it in perspective where we're at. So, let me bring you guys to the ICF. As you guys remember, I mean, it was super stable. My concrete plant, which we're going to talk about them in a minute because they are integral to me doing all of the stuff I'm doing with ICF. And they can probably help a lot of you guys too, between Form Supply and ICF Supply. We'll get into that in a minute, but they're really good about, I mean, the owner is good about, he'll negotiate a locked price on his Portland and a lot of his stuff for a whole year. So even though crazy inflation stuff started happening last year, our concrete was pretty stable. There was no change in our concrete costs all year. And, you know, a few of us that were kind of in on the ground floor of, you know, seeing the ICF Fox Box come to town, they had locked our price. They were trying to hold off on everybody. We had $3.87 a foot till the end of the year. But then they had to go up. I mean, it was, you know, we're probably the last ones in the country paying that. They're now delivered around $5.25. That is really on par with the big guys, you know, whether it be Build Block, you know, Logix. New Duro's higher than that by a fair margin. But that's getting to your job site. Generally, you know, there's enough plants around the country that you shouldn't be any further than that away. You could probably expect something around $5 a square foot. I factored in $5.25 to be as, you know, pessimistic as possible depending on shipping, because guys, shipping's all over the board right now with fuel prices and just demand. You just don't know. So that brings a 4x8 wall of ICF Forms to $168. Concrete went up. At my plant, it went up $5 a yard, which is actually pretty awesome considering I know that the Portland went up. It's costing them about $10 extra a yard. So they actually took a price hit to their, you know, to their margins to not stick us with an immediate increase. They don't even have a fuel charge yet, which I have no idea how they're not doing. I'm certainly thankful, but with the mileage that those mixers get, I would assume it's around the corner for everybody if you're not already getting it at your plant. But at the moment, $126 a yard for R3500 that we like to use because it pumps so nicely. And you will see. That brings the concrete, which is 0.59 and change yards to fill up a 4x8 sheet of wall, brings it to $75 in concrete. Now, I'm going to get into, everybody likes to talk to me about this, but there's really no way for me to simplify this to the point it would be in a short video. I'm leaving the rebar out. For full disclosure, rebar, last year I was paying, you know, $1,000 to $1,100 a ton. It's about $1,500 a ton last I looked on one of my bills. So it is up. So is strapping, okay? And the strapping is why I can't really, you know, 2 tons of rebar will do a house 2,500 square foot roughly. I mean, you probably have quite a bit left over. If you go to 3,500 foot, you may need a few extra sticks. If you always factor in about 2 tons, you're gonna be close. It's not gonna be 10 tons. It's not gonna be 1. You know, it's gonna be somewhere around 2 tons of rebar. But if I factor that cost into this wall, and then I try to do that for a framed wall, just depending on where you guys live, I don't expect that all of my viewers are from Springfield, Missouri, where I know I can strap a house about that size for $500 or $600. In Dauphin Island, Alabama, I'll link you to a couple of houses we built down there in a hurricane zone. The strapping was $6,000. Running the same numbers of straps right now, it'd be $8,500 to $9,000 per house for the amount of strapping required in that hurricane zone. Seismic zones out west and everything else, same thing. So while rebar might be $2 or $3 grand for a house always, which might be more for me in Springfield than the strapping, if you live in, you know, along the fault lines in California or the Gulf Coast or the East Coast where you're a sitting duck for a hurricane, you might have thousands of dollars more in strapping than rebar. So I just leave both things out. I'm not counting any strapping for framing. I'm not counting rebar. I'm sorry. I don't think I can get more detailed than that in a video that will be a length that will hold anyone's attention span. So that brings the total of the concrete and the ICF to $243. Guys, we're back within like less than $2 difference. I really thought lumber had it figured out. Optimism, whatever, that they were about 20% cheaper in January. You could frame a house for about 20% less on the outer wall only, because you're still going to have a subfloor that's the same material, walls, same material. So that 20% is going to correlate to, depending on the house, somewhere between 3 and 5% difference on the overall cost of the house. And to me, that's always acceptable to me to get a better product, 3 to 5%. Right now, it's not even anything. I mean, you're talking about less than 1% difference on the wall, way less than 0.5%. It's $1.80 on $250. That's crazy. That the difference in this wall and that wall. So we're back to the point where I can see no justification. Just regular crappy OSB was over $50 a sheet today. It's gross, and I'm going to need some. I'm building the garage. When we pour the training pool out here a week from this coming Friday, I'm so excited about it, but now I'm going to be trusses and a OSB roof. Want to use zip board, but it'd be like $3,000 for this little garage I'm doing. So I don't know. I may go metal roof because it's actually less money by quite a bit right now. So I've got some decisions to make, just like everybody does. On a lot of cases, I'm doing light deck roofs when it's the architecture permits for it. You can't. I'm not going to say you can't do a steep roof. I'm not in the mood to do it. But a lot of what we're doing now, single pitch, shallow pitch roofs, we go light deck. Cool way to go on a roof. And it seems like that would be way more money, but not right now with $70 a sheet zip board. So anyway, I thought today would be a good day to update it when I saw how bad lumber had spiked. I wish I didn't have to do the video today because lumber had stabilized, but this is going to be, another year where ICF is a hot commodity because it's so much more, for whatever reason, masonry products and, ICF has been a lot more stable. I mean, like I said, most of them took about a 20% increase last year, but that's so much less than, all the wood building materials were up way more than that. It's not just, the products I'm talking about here today. It's everything, and it's up, it's down. This thing's completely stable. This thing's times 7 what it was last year, like the pipe is right now. It makes no sense to me how one thing is so affected and other things aren't. I mean, I know some of you guys will probably chime in with the reason, but anyway, I'm going to tell you guys real quick kind of some exciting developments about the concrete plant ROST that you hear me talking about. You see me showing off those orange trucks in a lot of my videos, their pumps and everything. But they have made some big moves in ICF and supplies, like your Fab Form stuff. Okay, guys, the last thing I'm going to hit on this video that I'm really excited about for my guys at ROST, that they have done so well with the ICF and everything. They started carrying it just about the time they opened up their new plant in March of 2020, and it's really taken off. They are probably one of the bigger ICF suppliers around in Missouri, at least now, and they have they listen to us when they go, what do you want, what do you need? And I'm like, we need a light deck supplier, we need Fab Form stuff, all my legs, my fast foot legs that I do my fancy pool stuff with, the fabric. Fab Form is so innovative. They got these new levelers that I cannot wait to get. They're always thinking the way we think about how to make things work easier and simpler. The problem is they're in Canada. A lot of their stuff is shipped from overseas, so it can be a royal pain to get it. And all of this stuff, between light deck and even Fox Blocks got to where they had about an 8-week lead time last year. And ROST saw all that and saw how it was putting all of us in a bind when we're trying to get things done. And they just started stocking, like really, you pull up in the plant right now and just see a mile of ICF or racks and racks of Fab Form stuff. The monopore legs, I'm probably going to hose myself saying this out loud, but they've got pallets of them right now. And if you guys have looked for them, they are hard to come by. ROST, they have their own shipping line. They can ship anywhere in the country. And they've got everything, as far as modern concrete supplies go. They even sell Gates forms on the other out of their other plant, but we're talking about modern technology here, and that's what they're really excited about. They're called ROST ICF and Supply. Your main contact is going to be a guy named Daryl Hopkins. I'm going to put his name and his phone number up here. I'm going to leave it up here for a minute because he's the guy to call if you have needs on ICF. And the reason I'm saying all this, guys, is because I'm an admin on the ICF pool page on Facebook. I'm an active member on 2 of the other ICF building pages, and it never fails. And it's not any company specific, but they'll be like, I need ICF in fill in the blank city. I can't get my rep to call me back. I can't find a rep for this brand. I'm going to use this brand. It's one of ICF's weak links is you might be in a market where X block is just the best thing in the world. The rep is super knowledgeable, super helpful, awesome. You go 3 hours away and that block isn't even in the market, or there's a rep that, you know, isn't really motivated and doesn't return phone calls. And I know these guys will call you back. I know these guys will treat you right. They're exactly what you want when it comes to getting supplies and stuff. They hear you and they really work hard to solve. Like I said, last year the supply chain issues got really annoying, and they just ponied up and bought enough that we're in stock, and we haven't had a problem in quite a while. Every time I need something, they've got it. So like I said, after I tell all of you guys that, I might not be telling the truth, but at the moment they are well stocked, and Daryl, I know, would be looking forward to hearing from you. So give him a shout. And next week, I'm probably going to show off my pool kits because we've got one sitting on the ground at a job that's close enough I can drive to. So I'm going to show you, kind of give you a synopsis on that. I did a little short on one that we put together ourselves this week. That's not really a kit. We just did it, and but it's the same thing that you'll be able to buy as a kit. So we're going to do that one, and then the next week is training, guys. We're there. So excited, and the weather's finally nice. I was so sick of winter. So I'm going to see you guys next week. But like I said, give Daryl a call, and any of the supplies you see me using, he's going to have.